Michael, thank you so much for the time. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, Trey. How are you?
I am great, and I am excited because I get to take my family to the Paramount Theater for the very first time this Sunday. My wife and I have seen shows there before, but my 9 and 7-year-old have not been to this historic venue, nor have they had the opportunity or joy of getting to see a really good magic show. But you're not only going to
Right.
find some magic, but also a lot of comedy as well. So, first off, thank you for giving me a good excuse to get my entire family downtown this weekend.
Oh, no, you got it. I absolutely love that. I can't tell you the number of times I'll ask on tour. I go to these fantastic theaters like the Paramount, and I'll ask, like, how many of you this is your first time here? And I can't believe the hands that go up. And it's like, what an honor to get to be the one to bring them there. So you bet. And your kids will probably think that that's my palace. Like, I don't know how old they are, but sometimes kids will be like, this is Michael Carbonaro's, castle.
That's true. It has a very magician feel to it because it is an older theater like that. And so obviously a lot of people know you from the television show, The Carbonaro Effect, from several years ago, but your true passion lies in getting to perform live for people. So for folks who maybe are familiar with your work from television, but know nothing about the live show itself, what can they expect if they come to the Paramount this Sunday?
Oh, yeah. They can't expect anything. Um, yeah, most people know me from the Carbonaro Effect TV show where I was which was like candid camera. I was fooling people who didn't know they were being fooled while we had hidden cameras set up. But you're right. I love actually being in an environment where I'm up on stage, the audience is out there, they know I'm a magician, and we get to play together. And it really is just the magic is almost an excuse to get to just be here together, having a crazy awesome time. I bring people up on stage, I go out into the audience, kids are coming up, adults are coming up, and it's really just the whole vibe created that's the most magical of all.
You have the unique ability to really get to the heart and soul of people who are a variety of age ranges, whether you're talking about the grandparents in the crowd or the kids in the crowd and the parents in between, of course. What's the secret there? Because that is very difficult to cater to those different age groups all at once.
Yeah, that's my favorite kind of audience because you get to operate on lots of different levels at the same time. And you have, the adults are kind of smirking at something I said, and the kids don't know, and the kids laugh at the kids' stuff, and everyone laughs together. They start laughing at each other, laughing. I think the secret to that was, man, I grew up on Long Island, and I was a performing magician like all through my early teens, like literally performing for birthday parties and communions, christenings, and I had to be in front of that audience at once. I was never the babysitter magician. Like my show isn't a kiddie show. It's not like an adult show. It's really for everyone. So I think just, like when I was just pounding the pavement, learning how to be an entertainer, it was in front of those groups and you just sort of channel that. And that's my favorite kind, like the Johnny Carson kind of ability to just be playing for everyone. Wait, I thought I got the card. I've been trying to get this card the whole time we're here, but I thought I had it. I don't have it.
What card?
Oh, I'm learning a new trick with osmosis. So I kind of I take a deck without looking and I flip over one card so it's facing the other way and I strap it to my head and I try to get a vision of what that card might be psychically. So it's like you do this to just kind of develop a psychic skill. But I thought it was the Ace of Spades, but that's the card everybody thinks of. Everybody thinks of like Ace of Spades or Queen of Hearts, and I'm like, oh, and I'm like, no, that's not. It's got to be something more random. So I don't know.
Okay. Like a six of clubs, perhaps?
Six of clubs. I don't know. Let me. Yeah, I'm not getting anything. Is that where are you getting that?
Six of clubs, yeah.
That came into your mind?
That's the first thing that came to my head.
Well, you don't think it's like transmitting through the screen? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. You're the one who is the expert here.
Well, why don't we look?
Okay, let's see.
We should look. I mean, because I'm not getting it anyway. I've had this on I slept with this. I woke up and I was like, oh, I know what it is, and it's not. But let's take a look here. So there should be one flipped upside down, and I always flip it over without looking at. Oh, there it is. What did you say it was?
Six of clubs. Jeez. Freaking me
So
out.
it does work through See, that kind of makes sense, I think, because it's refracting the light through the zoom cam It's probably coming through your cam into your mind. That's why I wasn't getting it. It was reversing the vibes. That's really good. You should hone that skill.
Yeah, I wish I was able to hone it as well as you are. Kudos to you on that one.
Kudos to you, my brother. That was you.
Thank you, thank you.
Take your credit where you deserve it. Look at the mark you left on my head.
There's a little bit of a red mark there.
Yeah.
Inevitable if you're going to tie a deck of cards to your head overnight.
This kind of work doesn't come easy.
You still have great hair to show for it too. That's not always the case with comedians.
Is that right? Yeah, I guess that's right. Sure. Thank you. You could try it on if you come to the show. It's a wig. No.
You admit that that while you love magic, you have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with magic. What do you mean by that?
Yeah. Oh man, you're going full Barbara Walters today. Yeah, I do because I grew up and really wanted to like be seen as an all-around entertainer, and sometimes magician. Someone hears magician and they think like your dumb uncle doing a coin trick or something, like silly clown or something, and you can't it seems hard to kind of crack that magician but also a really solid comedian or like really solid entertainer or a great actor. It's like you throw a magician in there and you've like destroyed the entire thing immediately. You're wearing like a pair of glasses with a nose and a mustache and you're like honking a whoopee cushion, which I do. But yeah, so sometimes I feel like it can be a roadblock. It's been the one thing that's like really gotten me through the door in so many situations, from like getting into NYU, from like getting on to the Tonight Show and having my own TV show. So I love magic, but sometimes there's that little like, oh, I'm being seen as like a magician, which is kind of a bad word sometimes. So I hope that through my work and my show that actually helps make like magic something that's not that. But yeah, it does get me sometimes when you're trying to, like out here in Hollywood, trying to get into like a movie or a TV show. It's like, oh, the magician? It's like.
Wait, how did it help you get into NYU?
I did a trick at my audition and my meeting. I think maybe like, the allure of me, and maybe I'm just like not giving myself credit for like doing a great job at the audition or whatever, but I also like in the meeting kind of like was like, and I'm also a magician, and I like did a trick, and the guy was like, what? And then I like got in and I'm like, they must have been the trick. It was the sponge bunny rabbit that got me into NYU. It wasn't my grades.
You love George Carlin, one of, if not your all-time favorite stand-up comedian. There's actually an interesting conversation going on in the world of comedy right now that has to do with whether the idea of politically correct is good or bad for comedy. Jerry Seinfeld came out a couple weeks ago saying PC is bad for comedy. And Julia Louis-Dreyfus, his former Seinfeld co-star, came out over the weekend, I want to say, and said, actually, PC is good. It forces you to really reassess what is actually funny at a given point in time. So something that may have been funny 10, 20 years ago is not as funny now for, I guess, obvious reasons, depending on the subject. You think PC is a good or bad idea as it pertains to comedy?
Yeah, it's a tricky subject, and I don't think there's a black or white answer there, because there's this bizarre thing sometimes you see in comedy where, or even in the world of entertainment, where you'll hear, oh man, he gets away with that, or oh, she can pull that off. And there's just some people that it's not just the words you're saying or the premise of the joke that needs to be examined. It's the whole package. Someone who has this sort of general kindness and joy, and we love them and know them, they could sort of play with something that might get a little too edgy, but yet we just know that it's coming from that place. And then you can take that same joke or concept and give it to someone else, and it's gross and dark and like mean and questionable and cancelable. So there's really no way to say. I think people like look to come up with some kind of like, we have to have a rule and a structure. What can you say? What can't you say? And once you start going down there, it can be really hindersome for people. I definitely notice even in my own work, like sometimes I'll say something and I'll be like, wait, I'll have to like go ask, like, is that going to be like too weird? Is that like an okay joke? It's a little bit like on edge, but like funny, like the parents will laugh, and like, just in this landscape, social landscape, is that going to be like a tiny little same thing with when you go on and do a comedy show, someone watches the whole comedy show and then they record one like sentence and then they post that one sentence, like, look what this person said. And you're like, you're missing the whole picture here that got us there, or why that was ironically being said, or what. It's very tough. So I definitely, what I do notice is that so yes, the answer is yes, it can be good, because maybe it'll clean up some people who shouldn't be saying and doing the things that they're doing. And then on the other side, it does kind of like, once you're hesitating in your work, oh man, as a comic or as an entertainer, it's all about like the spontaneity and the riding, with the impulse. So like once you're like putting up these little roadblocks, it can be damaging to your freedom as an entertainer. So I've seen that. I stumble around sometimes too. But so I don't think there's any hard and fast answer to that. And it's definitely, I guess worth talking about, but you can't make any rules back and forth.
That nuanced response to things, because I think you're right about that. Context certainly matters, and you don't want it to come from a mean place, but part of the brilliance of stand-up comedy is talking about taboo subjects in a way that maybe pokes holes in the extremes on both sides, while figuring out a way for us to all laugh about the ridiculousness of the seriousness of something. And at the end of the day, even if we don't necessarily completely align on a given subject, that we can look at one another and just shake our heads and laugh at the absurdity that we just listened to on stage.
I agree.
So one more time for people who are maybe thinking right now, come on, you got to act, folks, austintheater.org, but are thinking about going and seeing the show on Sunday, but haven't exactly pulled the trigger yet.
Yeah.
Any other reason or particular joke that they might be interested in learning about right now that will ultimately get them to buy tickets to go see you on Sunday night?
Well, if you have literally come down this far into the interview and you're not going to go see the show, I don't know what I could say. Sounds like you're interested. It's a great show. Like we've been saying, it's fun for everyone. I do make two people from the audience disappear on stage, which is really cool, whether you're in the crowd or whether you're the one who gets to disappear. So maybe that'll tip the scales from someone who's sitting with their mouse hovering over the buy tickets button. It's a great time. So I'd love to see you down there.
He is Michael Carbonaro. Check out his website, michaelcarbonaro.com. That's where you can also buy tickets if you don't go to austintheater.org. Michael, thank you so much for the time today. Safe travels to and from Austin this weekend.
Yeah, man. Thanks, Trey. See ya.
You're still watching on YouTube right now. I greatly appreciate you subscribing and clicking that thumbs up button. Thanks to Gentleman Jesus for the intro and outro music. Hear more of his work at gentlemanjesus.com. Thanks to you for hanging out. For more of the show and to connect on social media, visit booksonpod.com. We'll talk to you next time on Books on Pod.